Hello everyone, my name is Brandon Hawkins. You may remember me from the first episode of Nature of the Game podcast, or for wearing number 16 on the ice of your Toledo walleye.
My name is Josh Vermeesch. People have also called me Tattoos by Loaf, and I am the creator of Paradise Every Day.
Paradise Every Day shows that no matter what you may go through, that there's a positive side to everything.
We are happy to share the Nature of the Game and Paradise Every Day are partnering together to bring awareness to mental health across the nation.
1 in 4 people are fighting a battle behind closed doors, and mental health is truly really important.
26% of Americans struggle with mental health disorder each year.
Paradise Every Day is more than just merchandise. It's a way of life, it's a motto, and it's something to live by.
We're here to tell you that we have faced similar battles in our life. I created Paradise Every Day because I too struggle with mental health issues along with depression.
Now, just like I mentioned in the first Nature of the Game podcast episode, find your beach. Everyone has a happy place. You just need to find your own.
We believe it's very important to spread this awareness and to make an impact on those fighting behind closed doors.
About 2015, I met Lo for the first time. I originally was coming around there to get tattooed by an old friend, Josh, and it's weird you're both named Josh.
That's true.
And he didn't have enough time, so I met Loaf that day, and it kind of worked out perfectly because ever since then I haven't gone to anybody else. We've done a lot of different things, and a few of my tattoos have been based off a mindset. Like, for instance, my forearm was I will do anything and everything for what and who I love, and my parents kind of instilled that in me. And from then on, like, we talked a little bit more about mental health here and there, and he created the brand Paradise Every Day. And honestly, it was the perfect mantra because I've transferred schools in hockey. I've played for different teams. You go through different things on a daily basis. And to live with that motto and that mindset, it's such a powerful thing that really you can get through just about anything in life if you think about it that way.
When, we're not together too often with him being gone on the road and playing in different cities, we've maintained our friendship through text messages, and it was a no-brainer to ask him to join, the company because, no two guys, really, we check in on each other all the time. It's pretty rare that at least, once or twice a week we're getting a text message just to check in on each other to see how we're doing. I know that with what he does and, at the professional level, that it's not super easy all the time. You're kind of getting tugged here and there, and you don't have a lot of say in what you got to do. And I know that can be pretty mentally taxing. So, checking in and just making sure that he's doing well. Outside of the playing aspects, I know I don't really have to worry too much about him playing well, but always just making sure that he's just doing all right, and just making sure that his headspace is clear. And he does the same for me, tattooing every single day. You have to be perfect every single day. It's a lot of weight to carry. A lot of people don't realize how difficult that is to have to perform every day, but he has to do the same thing, just in a different way. And I think that's where we kind of, really bonded over that, and have been able to keep this kind of going for both of us, really.
Also, do me a favor, check out paradiseprintingmi.com for all your printing needs. That includes vinyl printing, vinyl banners, vinyl graphics, and business cards, and even more.
We all are here standing up for the fight against mental health. If you personally are struggling with your mental health down this road of life, just know that there is paradise on the other side. Find what makes you happy, and remember, each day is not a given. Live life to the fullest every day, and maybe the paradise will come to you.
You can also follow Paradise Every Day on Instagram at Paradise Every Day 365 to keep up with new drops and new partnerships in the future.
Guys, thanks for sticking around. This was a great start to the episode and a great partnership I'm hoping to look forward to. Remember, get your Paradise Every Day gear because it's going to go fast. So make sure to come down, check them out, and also make sure you live in paradise.
And that's how we fight mental health.
Thanks, guys.
Hello everyone, my name is Achten, and I personally want to welcome you to Nature of the Game. Season 1, Episode 2. Just like my dad, the story of 3 generations of PBA champions.
This story revolves around a family from Munster, Indiana. 3 generations of talent, including Don McCune, Eugene McCune, and last but not least, the PBA Players Champion and my guest today, Kevin McCune. The story started over 50 years ago. In the 1968 Fort Worth Open, Don McCune won his first of 8 titles while being on tour. And he ended up capturing PBA Player of the Year honors and was later elected into the Hall of Fame.
The angle that he practices when he goes home.
He's got 2 in a row.
Almost 34 years later, 2002, Don's son, Eugene McCune, captured his first title at the PBA Banquet Classic at Spectrum Lanes. Eugene ended up winning 3 titles between 2002 and 2012, while also capturing 2 PBA 50 titles. And the person that was there to celebrate right after his first win was his son, Kevin McCune.
It took 366 career events, but he's done it. He has the most career earnings for a full-time active player, having not won. Until now, he is the champion.
May 14th of this year, the impossible became reality. Eugene's son, Kevin McCune, captured his first PBA title at the PBA Players Championship. After a long week of qualifying and beating some top superstars to get to the championship match, including Zach Tackett, Anthony Simonson, and EJ Tackett. In the finals, he defeated Jacob Buttriff in the 3 games of the best-of-5 series. His first title ended up being a major, and he now has the one up on his dad as he holds the title of a PBA Major Champion. Just like his dad's first title, Kevin went over and hugged Eugene, completing the 3 generations of PBA champions. Where are they today, you might ask? Well, Eugene McCune still bowls to the day on the PBA 50 Tour. He has 2 titles, his latest being in 2021, as he captured the PBA 50 South Shore Open in Hammond, Indiana. And Kevin, only 2 years being on tour, still has a lot to learn in this game. And we all can't wait to see how many titles he does rack up. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I welcome you to Nature of the Game, Season 1, Episode 2. Just like my dad, the story of 3 generations of PBA champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, welcome back to the Nature of the Game podcast, Season 1, Episode 2, Just Like My Dad, the story of 3 generations of PBA champions. Oh my God, guys, it's been way too long. Little people on the screens, how we doing? Yeah! But seriously, guys, it's been way too long. March is when the first episode came out, and I knew I had to get something out for you guys. But we got a lot to cover today. First, as you've seen right before I popped on your screen, is Nature of the Game is partnering up with Paradise Every Day. You guys may remember Paradise Every Day from the first episode with Brandon Hawkins, the owner Mr. Josh Vermeesch, aka Tattoos by Loaf. I was able to hook up with him and to create more awareness and spread his cause of mental health awareness. And I think it's a really powerful movement. And I couldn't be more excited to join him and his team to, push forward on this subject, because I really do believe that people do fight behind closed doors every single day. So enabled to spread awareness, I think it's so important to get people in the right headspace, because just like me, just like Josh, just like Brandon, all of us know that no matter what you go through, there's always paradise on the other side. You just have to find your beach, like Hawk said.
Find your beach.
And you can just live in the paradise too. So really cool partnership that I'm going to hook up with them. Make sure to get some gear, guys. All of it goes to charity. So you can go to Paradise Everyday 365 on Instagram. Shoot him a message. He'll hook you up with some gear. They do have a website coming up here soon. So once that releases, I will make sure to get that to you guys. And you guys can get gear from there also. But right now, Instagram, Paradise Everyday 365. Go look them up. Go check them out. Go buy some gear. All for charities, all for proceeds, all that good stuff. So great partnership. A little bit about me, though. I have taken a little bit of a break from the podcast, you can probably say. All for good reasons, though. If you have not been up to date on the media accounts, I am now a PA announcer for the Mud Hens. Dream come true. Seriously, a dream come true. I never thought this day would actually come to life. I remember 10, 11-year-old kid watching Cubs games and being like, wow, this is something that I would love to do. And, that's a job that's very hard to get into. And it's actually funny how I got my first PA gig with the Mud Hens. I was just regular working a promo shift. That means getting the games also, like mini games all set up, getting people down to the field for like first pitches and all that good stuff. And part of my opening roles were to open the gates for the game, which is an hour before. So what I did is I went out to right field. That's where my assigned gate was. I made sure that was open on time. And as I'm there at the right field gate, I had the game director sprint, and I mean sprint. He was hauling, get all the way to me. And he's like out of breath. He's like, Ethan. I'm like, what's up? And he's like, you want to be the PA announcer today? And I just look at him like with the most shocked face. I'm like, bruh, me? You're asking me to be your PA announcer? And he was like, yeah. He's like, the guy couldn't get here very last second. You were the only person I could think of. And I was mind blown. I told him right then and there, I was like, I hope this is going on the resume. But in my head, I knew I had one shot to impress these guys and to hopefully get more opportunities out of this. And by far, I think I did so. I've been PA announcing quite a few times now, and it's been a dream come true. Seriously, guys, it's been a dream come true. The baseball season's going great. I'm also in the clubhouse now, so I'm getting to witness, life with the guys and seeing how they go through their daily routines as baseball players. And it's really interesting to look into. And that's kind of why I've been so busy lately, because, this summer, that's the hypest part for baseball season. So we've been busy a lot this summer. But I am excited to get back here today, because Kevin McCune will be joining me on the podcast. If you guys don't know Kevin McCune, he is the PBA Players Championship from this year. And wow, he has a great story. Very great story. 3 generations of PBA champions, including him, his dad, and his grandfather. So that's really cool. And that's what we're going to be talking a lot today about Kevin. Before we get into Kevin, though, I do want to kind of mention where I kind of met Kevin at in this whole process, because meeting Kevin, it wasn't just like I reached out and I knew, hey, join my podcast and see what he thinks. And then him reaching out and be like, oh, yeah, I want to join the podcast. No, I was actually a bowler. If you guys don't know this, you guys have to be a while back in the history to know this. I was a bowler for a lot of my years in life. So my dad bowls on the PBA 50 Tour. And I picked up bowling, ever since I was a little kid. Ever since I could throw the ball, I was bowling. Lead up all the way to high school. High school is when I met Kevin. We bowled in the same conference sometimes together. So he was with Andrea and I was with Chesterton. And wow, there was no stopping that kid. There was no stopping that kid whatsoever. He was a force to be reckoned with at the time. But that's how I originally met Kevin. We both ended up going off to college. He started with baseball, but he went over to Calumet College to bowl collegiately, and I did the same. I went to Lourdes University to bowl collegiately. I only had 2 years under my belts before the baseball and everything hit me, and I wasn't able to bowl anymore. But as you can tell, he's still going hard in this sport. After finishing college, hopped right on the PBA Tour, and he's been making a name for himself. I mean, we can say that he's definitely been making a name for himself. So this is definitely going to be an interesting podcast, not only to realize what Kevin may go through as a pro player and all the build up and the grind to get to all these tournaments, but also how hard it is to win these tournaments. And for him to do it at such a young age and, make his first championship a major is absolutely stunning. So great podcast coming up for you guys. Going to be amazing. I mean, truly amazing on what we're going to talk about. So do I have anything else for you guys here? Let's see. No, I don't think I do. So besides me just blabbering on, because I know you guys miss me, but I know who you're here to see, right? So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you the 2023 PBA Players Champion, Mr. Kevin McCune. Ladies and gentlemen, and joining me today, Mr. Kevin McCune, 8th in tour points, 6 top 25 finishes, 2022 Rookie of the Year runner-up, and I can't forget to mention the 2023 PBA Players Champion. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today. How have you been? How's life been treating you?
Well, thanks for having me, Ethan. I mean, I've been pretty good, and I mean, watching your dad's Facebook stuff and seeing your post, I mean, obviously you're doing pretty well too, living the life of kind of getting to follow baseball. So
yeah, and to be honest, you've been following baseball a lot yourself, and that's kind of where I want to dive deep into right away is, being a PBA pro wasn't always the mindset for you. Throughout grade school, probably even before grade school, all the way up to college, you were a baseball player. You had many different positions that you held on the field, most notably being a pitcher. And throughout this time, you were still bowling, but you had your priorities mainly set on baseball, I would say. And actually in 2017, you were in the Perfect Game showcases where we've seen a bunch of MLB talent get their start. You had a fastball that would sit around anywhere from 80 to 85 miles per hour when the class average was way below 80. I mean, so we knew the arm was always there for you from such a young age. And I kind of want to know, how big was baseball for you? And did you have any thoughts about going pro after college? And where was that transition for you that you knew you wanted to step into bowling?
Pretty much my 6th collegiate game when I tore my arm.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I was 6 games into college and tore the labrum playing third base.
Third base. Well, I mean, so that was like the moving point for you, right? That's when you were like, all right, so maybe this isn't going to work out full time. Was there any thoughts about going to the PBA like while playing baseball? Did you?
It was always there.
Yeah.
It was always there because I always had it in my back pocket, kind of like, I can go do it.
You seen your dad, you seen your grandpa, you knew that you had to be up there.
Yeah, I had that one in the back pocket. I wasn't trying to have it be so early, but it happens.
It does happen. And I mean, I see it every day, baseball players get hurt, done for the season, some for the rest of their lives. And it sucks to see in such a grinding sport. And I want to know, what was the transition? Because obviously you were throwing strikes behind the plate. Now you're throwing them on the lanes. You talked about, I remember watching an interview, you talked about some tools and some skills you were able to take from baseball and transition it over to the lanes. So do you believe that this better prepared you for the task at hand for being on the pro tour? And comparing the two, what were some similarities and differences from the two sports that you took over?
Pretty much both. You have to use your legs a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I'm able to throw a bowling ball so hard, is because of everything in baseball that I did. I was a catcher, so I used my legs a lot. And then I pitched. So you have to use your legs to throw hard.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, if you slow down my 4th step in my approach, my foot actually turns like I'd be pitching on a rubber.
Oh, okay.
So I actually generate.
That's where all your power comes from then. Yeah. That's insane.
So I really get into the ball, the front toe and the ball of my foot, really, when I'm going into my last step.
That's where it takes place, huh?
It kind of is almost like I'm pitching in a way, but with a bowling ball.
And that's good to see, and it's great to use those tools, because one thing you were amazing and great at, and be able to transition from what you love to do on the baseball field and still have the same techniques to throw it on the lanes for bowling. I mean, that's insane, to be honest. And I think it's really cool what you've been doing lately. And it all started, at least for me, when I was looking into all the research, it all started later in 2021 in April, when we watched the torch being passed from your dad to you when you defeated him at the Times Master Bowling Classic. And I mean, what an amazing experience it is to face the one who probably taught you the most about bowling and be able to take the title home from him. I did read that your dad still hasn't forgotten those 3 9-pins that he may have left and the 4-pin that you tripped. But in his words, he let you have the big trophy. I want to know what your words are and how surreal was that moment for you?
He's never let me have the big trophy. He never let me win as a kid. So it's time to give him the payback. Yeah, he never let me win. He still won't try to let me win. He doesn't have that in him.
That was definitely, I was reading into that. I was like, that was the time. I was like, he takes down his father. I'm like, the only thing that's next is to win a championship on the tour. I'm like, that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
So from when I met you in high school, I'm going to kick it back a little bit further than 2021 of April. From when I met you in high school, I knew that you were one dangerous man on the lane. So, I mean, it was the power, the talent. You had it all from such a young age, and it's only been building up. So once you decided to take the bowling side of things post-college, I wanted to say you really put a lot of bowlers on notice in 2021 by winning the Indiana Masters in January. Walk me through that tournament. What was that like for you leading up to the championship match against Matt Sanders? And at that time, you discussed that was the biggest career title so far in your life. Obviously, that's changed. But
yeah.
How was that moment for you? And what did you kind of think based off that tournament? What can I do next?
Well, it was a very long and grueling day because I lost the second game. It's double elimination.
Okay.
So I bowled the most amount of games you could bowl in match play during that tournament because I lost the second game. But I also out-averaged everybody on the day by like 15 pins.
Yes.
I lost with 230.
Insane.
I believe 2-10 was my low game during match play.
And you had
so I went on a tear.
Yeah, you did go.
It's just one of those things of I've known Matt for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Beating him twice was another tournament in itself.
Yeah.
Especially on what we were bowling on. And I mean, Matt's bowled great on the tour. Matt's been a great bowler for a long time.
Yes, he has.
And being able to beat him twice definitely gave me a bigger confidence boost.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it was something that my dad hasn't won yet either. My dad never won a Masters title. I mean, EJ has a Scratch Classic title, but he doesn't have a Masters title yet.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie doesn't have the Masters title. And these are all great bowlers in our area.
Yes, they are.
I mean, so I was able to achieve something that some of the best bowlers out of Indiana ever haven't been able to do.
Yeah, that's insane. And from that moment, I would say that's when, I mean, for you, it seemed like that's when the mindset really kicked in. Like, all right, I can not only mean something in the state, but in the whole country when it comes to bowling. Yeah. And let's see where we're at. In late 2021 in November, you captured your first PBA regional, if I'm correct, at the Plaza Bowl Midwest RPI Open. This also secured you a spot to bowl the following January in Vegas for the Regional Players Invitation.
Yeah.
But capturing your first of 2 regionals, right? It was 2 regionals you had?
Yeah, I have another regional title this year.
So
I have multiple seconds and
all that good shit.
Thirds
and... So with that being the opening confidence for you to know that you can compete with like the best of the best, you defeated Jace Meyer in the finals, 6-3, 17 games, 3,945 pins, 223 average, cashed out with a couple grand that day. How was that like for you getting your first, PBA regional championship? And did you know that you wanted to win a major spot next?
So I actually think that tournament, even though I bowled Jason in the final, I think the biggest win was the last game of match play. Pete was ahead of me by 40.
Oh,
so wow. by 50. So I had to beat him by 20 in the game to go around him. So I beat Pete in the last game of match play to get the 1 seed in the step ladder.
That's a big
so that gave an even bigger.
Yeah. Did
I
you?
mean, that
Oh.
really the what?
That was the one that got it. Totally side note right here. Please tell me you've seen Pete Weber's new commercial with Muggsy.
And 3 things only. Drilling pins, looking fly, and never backing down.
Who do you think you are? I am.
That's why he...
Jeans.
I have.
Oh my god. I mean, that put me in tears the first time I seen the little kid. Ah! That was and to think, even from back then when you faced him to even now, Pete's still on the PBA 50 tour. He's still, doing Pete things, and it's cool to see that you were able to take on a legend like that. And that's got to be the utmost confidence for you to, you can do absolutely anything, especially against Mr. Pete Weber. ESPN great. I mean, if you didn't know bowling in today's world, you knew Pete Weber. That's how it was, He was that guy. So kicking it on, talking about the big one now. May 14th of this year, the impossible became reality. You grabbed the one up on your dad, which probably feels amazing to you.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And you won your first PBA Tour title, which ended up being a major. You had a couple months to let this set in now, and you were a PBA major champion. What is that moment like for you and your family?
It's still very surreal, but I mean, it's a great feeling knowing that I knew I could do something.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it would be so soon.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they're the best in the world. I mean, the people I had a bowl in it are some of the best bowlers out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Zach's up and coming, just like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his brother is arguably one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah.
Simon is an insane talent. He does things that nobody else can do. He's a rare bowler. I mean, I think he could win at will if he really wanted to, because he's that good. And Buttriff is just, I mean, he's a really good friend of mine. He's unbelievable with what he can do with a bowling ball, especially with how he bowls.
Yeah.
He has so many different little tricks, and I mean, it's hard to describe. I mean, but that was the whole purpose of me going out there, was to be the only 3 generation.
Yeah.
Because when are you going to see it next? You might not see it. You might see it all.
I don't know about
years
that.
from now.
Because it took what? It was 60, 70 years that it took for you guys to complete. I don't believe that would ever happen again. I mean, it could, but I mean, that's very rare. And that's kind of what I want to hit on next is these tournaments, they aren't easy to win. And a lot of the greats may show up in the finals on the TV appearances for most times, but how much of a grind is it? Because this is not just the weekend that we're talking about. This is a full week qualifying, match play, all this good stuff. And how was that week during that week? How was that for you? What did you see on the lanes throughout the week? Did you know you had it throughout the whole time and knew you had a chance at winning?
So I had no look after the first on the low bay. So at Carolier, there's 1 through, I think, 50-ish, 1 through 40-ish on the low end, but it's above. It's a higher platform.
Okay.
And you go down a couple stairs and you have the rest of the house. I went 100 and something over on the long pattern on the low end.
Okay.
And then we went and bowled on the high end. Well, I went 100 under down there. And that's where we were bowling match play. So I had to somehow figure out something for that left lane.
Yeah.
Because the long pattern was on the left lane and I had absolutely no look on it on that side of the building. So then we drilled a couple balls, and I mean, I found something that I can make do, but it wasn't something that I was 100% like, oh man, I can shoot big games every game with this.
Yeah.
It was, I had to throw perfect shots and keep the ball where I needed to. Otherwise, I'm either going to wash out or I'm going through the face. Because if you watch the 300 I shot during the advancers rounds, I was throwing the ball pretty much hard up 14. I was throwing it up 13, 14, just playing really straight. And that was my best look down there. And then we got to go back to the low end for the TV finals, which let me breathe a little bit because I had a good look over there.
Yes, you did. So that's kind of leading into those TV finals. We see you climb the ladder. I mean, you beat both the Tackett's, Anthony Simonson, and eventually Butters. And that finals appearance against Butters, I just want to know, you had the line in the championship for sure. But what was going through your head entering that championship match? I kind of known from a young age that lights, camera, action, that hasn't been a problem for you. But did you have nerves as the match is going on, or did you know I just had to bowl, and then whatever the outcome is, then that's when you celebrate or you're down on yourself, but you knew you had one thing at hand?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much had the mindset the whole time of I'm going to hit the pocket and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I'll have another opportunity if it doesn't work out.
Exactly.
But as long as I hit the pocket, I can't control anything else. So that was my biggest mindset is that there's no point to be nervous because I'll get another opportunity at some point.
Mhm.
But if I can just make the best shots I can now and put pressure by hitting the pocket and leaving 9 or striking, I like my chances.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you had the line. Shot some big games against Butters. And after you claim the trophy, you get all that praise, hug your father. Did you whisper anything in his ear, tell him, I got you?
Oh, no, I just waited for the first question of, how do you feel? I said, I'm one up on my dad. I just waited for that one.
That's hysterical. But yeah, I mean, what a surreal moment. I know a lot of the people watching only got to see the finals that were streamed on Fox Sports, but the mental grind that bowlers, I would say, go through throughout week-long tournaments, or some even weekends, it's a lot of games, it's a lot of prep work. And my podcast is really meant to show a lot of the behind-the-scenes looks at professional athletes. And you being a professional athlete, it's definitely a blessing, but it's not easy whatsoever. And a lot of PBA tournaments I know go for a week long, new city each week, and maybe one of the hardest sports to win. And I mean that. The players pool for each tournament can hold hundreds of players. It's very unlikely to automatically keep going to the finals every single time. So what is like the behind the scenes prep work for you? What have you done to prepare yourself for this long journey? What do you go through before tournaments? Just stuff like that. What's that mindset for like?
I mean, that week was really long because the first 2 TV shows were bowled on a Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we bowled a different tournament in the middle of that week. We went and bowled the Roth-Holman doubles in Delaware. So we were in Jersey, then we went to Delaware, bowled the Roth-Holman doubles, and I had to go back for the match against Simo and Butters.
That is insane. So put in perspective, how much travel is that? That's probably how many hours?
It was a 2.5 hour drive from where we were in Jersey to where we bowled. But I mean, we bowled a whole different tournament.
Yeah. You see different people, see different patterns, and
yeah, we bowled on 2 different patterns there as well.
That's insane. So you take that, you come back over, and I mean, completely have to change your mindset from what you just witnessed over back to the championship match to where you knew you had a line. That's got to be some grueling stuff right there. It's.
I mean, Simo said in his interview that he couldn't get the picture of the doubles tournament out of his mind on the right lane on TV against me. So, I mean, obviously it affected him a little bit. It didn't affect me really, just because I bowled like crap at the doubles. I mean, I felt so bad for Brandon, my doubles partner, Brandon Runk. I did not bowl good. I think it was mainly because I was so focused on the players.
Yeah.
Because it was my first show.
Exactly.
So obviously it was always in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt so bad for Brandon that I just didn't make good shots, and I bowled so bad there. Because I was constantly still thinking about what I'm going to do on the TV show on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, obviously that's something I have to work on. But, I mean, week in and week out, I try to just not really think about bowling.
I can agree with that, especially on the baseball side of things. You get so caught up in day-to-day routines that, the off days, the relaxed days, I do anything but watch baseball. I do anything but it's almost like a relaxing point to know that
yes, this is a dream come true to be in the pro sports atmosphere, but it's also a job and it's a huge grind to go through each day.
Yeah.
And not every day that you're a PBA pro bowler, you love it. Because, like, again, you struggle some days. Not everyone can bowl great every single day. Same thing in baseball. Not people go into slumps every single day, and it's hard to maintain a winning status. And I wanted to push that so much in this podcast because I don't think a lot of, especially my fans, know how tense bowling can be, with it being so hard to just win. Because, I mean, even you look at football, yes, you could take Tom Brady. He could switch teams and he could still win a Super Bowl. In bowling, it's so much harder to win. And
There's
it's so
so
much
many
harder to
different
stay.
variables.
Yeah, it's so hard to win, stay consistent throughout the whole time, throughout the week, weekend, whatever it may be. And plus, put into average, I'll ask you this. How many games do you think how many games do you think you bowled for that whole major weekend?
Well, let's see. That was so including the practice days, we bowled 24 games of qualifying. So not include, or so if you include the practice days after I add it all in, we bowled 24 games of qualifying. Then we bowled 3 rounds of 8. So another 24, so 48.
Okay.
And then we had a 2.5-hour practice session before we started. And then we started to bowl TV.
I mean, you hear that, guys? This is insane stuff. I mean, you can talk to any regular league bowler, and he can barely get through 3 games at league. Mr. Kevin McCune is going through a whole week, and
I mean,
it's
the U.S.
insane
Open
stuff.
weeks. The U.S. Open week is the longest if you make match play, because you have 4-hour practice sessions before you start, and then you bowl the qualifying games, which is 8 games of qualifying on 3 different patterns. So there's 24 there. And then you do 3 rounds of round robin match play of 8 games for the 24 that make it. So you can bowl 56 games.
That's insane.
In that week, not including the step ladder.
I mean, that's almost right under half of 100 games right there, guys. That's literally insane. You know, it's so hard. And you guys, a lot of people think, oh, you know, you go up there, you throw the ball, you take biceps whatsoever. But to be so consistent in 56 games and to be able to win something out of that, I mean, you even look at the greatest pros now, and they can't put together 56 straight games that are to get them somewhere. It's very hard to do and such a grueling sport to go through. So going on to pretty much what's next for you. I know we just saw you get drafted to the PBA League. LAX, you're gonna be with Belmo, Butters, Williams, Thomas Larson, and that's all managed by Andrew Kane. What do you look forward to most in that? That's coming up in September, right?
Yeah, that's coming up in September. I mean, it's gonna be nuts. I've never experienced anything like it. Obviously, it's a complete different aspect of our sport now with the PBA League. I mean,
individual play into team play, which you probably haven't seen since college.
I haven't. I mean, you don't really think about it because there's only 50 that get to bowl it.
Okay.
So to be in those 50, you gotta work your ass off.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's only 50 of us there. So, I mean, not everybody in the top 50 gets picked. Like I was in the top 50 last year in points, and I didn't get picked. So this year, I was 8th, and I got picked, obviously, because I had a lot better year. Yeah. But I was in the top 50 last year and didn't get picked. So just because you're in the top 50 doesn't mean that you're going to make it. Yeah. Because, like, you can be out of it. You can be in the top 75 in points to get picked. And if there's title holders that just had a bad year, they're obviously going to get picked. Yeah. Because they've proven it, that they can win. You want people that can win on your team. So, I mean, being able to prove that I can win and be honored enough to be a part of it means a lot. Because it is pretty much the best of the sport that are there.
And to be honest, you were paired up with a great team, I would say, starting with Elmo. You get to meet Butters again. I know you got a great connection with Stu Williams. Don't know too much about Thomas Larson, but you guys, I mean, you look at this team and then you look at all the other teams. You definitely, in my eyes, are favorited. to go on for this PBA league. So when in September does that all kick off, and what's the first start pretty much for the PBA league? Because this is kind of new to me too. So what do you guys do? What does it lead up to? Is it like a tournament style?
Well,
Or
it's qualifying games. They're changing the format a little bit this year. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly all the details of the format change, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be round robin match play against the teams for qualifying
okay,
to get the seeding. And then we'll bowl. So then you'll bowl 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, a step ladder, and the winner of that moves on. So depending on how far you get, it's going to be pretty much a giant step ladder.
Okay.
From what I've heard, it's going to be a very hard thing to win.
Yes. I mean, you look
The
at
qualifying is going to mean a lot.
Yes, it will. I know I'm excited to get that all started up in September. Kind of like the last thing I want to hit question wise with you before we get into the Nature's Quest is pretty much, we see what you did in baseball. We see what you did in bowling. And because I know a lot of professional athletes and a lot that I've had on my podcast, they have a lot of great things to say and a lot, of stories, but also they hide a lot of, the mental struggles that they may go through. And that's why I kind of want to persuade a lot about, and that's why I kind of partnered with Paradise Every Day, which is the mental health nonprofit organization. So can you think of one time, and could be baseball, could be bowling, in high school all the way up to being a pro now, was there one thing that may have set you back in your sport, but also builded up your confidence to keep continue on and driving on throughout your journey?
I think it was definitely the day I tore my arm.
That I was kind of thinking that too. That was
because I was still able to throw, but not hard. Like as soon as I threw the ball hard, it hurt.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those things of I want to do this, but I can't. I can throw it sidearm. I can throw it from underneath and not feel any pain. But you can't play you can't play third base throwing the ball from almost underneath every throw.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic. And I can't catch, which was my best position.
Yeah.
By throwing a ball from underneath. So it really that took a toll on me the most. But it's kind of like a blessing in disguise kind of thing. I looked at
what you did today.
Yeah. Because if I had surgery to try to fix it, they didn't know if I'd have full mobility. But I have full
on
mobility.
both sides. Yeah.
So it's like it made me stop one journey, which I did year in and year out. From when I was 8, I played almost 100 games a summer.
Jesus.
So I was all over the place for travel ball.
Yeah.
I'd go state to state. We'd be gone the whole summer playing baseball.
That's insane.
I got to work with Dewey Robinson and other coaches in Basio because of my travel ball coach, Chuck Reeder. He runs the Chi-Town Cream out of Chicago, and I got to work with professionals and really get better at what I wanted to do. And then it all just went away one throw on a Thursday at like 11:15 in the morning. It was like 38 degrees outside.
Told at some point in time, really, that we can no longer play the children's game. We just don't know when that's going to be. Some of us are told at 18, some of us are told at 40, but we're all told.
It was in the 30s.
Gotta love early baseball. That's how it was. All it was early. So we started end of March, early April was our opening weekend, and I think it was by far the coldest opening weekend in history of baseball. It was around the same. I was in a jacket. I had these big puffy pants on. I looked like I was ready to go snowboarding, but we were actually at a baseball game.
Yeah, then right then and there, it's kind of like just shut off.
Yeah.
For a while, because it was like, what am I gonna do? And then I always had the bowling, but it was not what I wanted to do at that moment.
Yeah. He wanted to keep up with baseball. And you were, if I'm read it correctly, you were a dual athlete at CCSJ, right? So you were bowling and playing baseball.
Yeah.
How hard is that? I mean, I could barely manage my sport when I was doing it still here. And that was only one. So how were you able to manage both sports, school?
At CCSJ, I didn't play at all my junior year because that's COVID.
Forgot about that. Yep.
It was a
That was
COVID.
the thing.
So I didn't have to do that. And then senior year, I played 7 games.
Okay.
Played 7 games. I played the games I can make it to at home when we weren't bowling. And I mean, my first game back, I didn't touch a bat for over a year and a half or practiced because I wasn't able to make it because of bowling. My first game back, I lined out to left, then I homered over left after not touching a bat for a year and a half.
That is amazing.
I mean, it was like riding a bike.
That's kind of felt about my dad. So I don't know if you remember, my dad took like a long stint off of bowling. It was almost 12 years or so. He didn't never touch the ball. He was the golf man. That's what he was.
Hey, he was honing in his golf game, which I'm trying to
do. Yeah, he needs to teach me some of that too. God forbid, I'd be going out with a couple of the guys, and it's just I go there to drink now. It's not even for good scoring. It's just like, let's see how many beers he can get until he actually hits the ball straight. But yeah, like he did the same thing. 12 years off of bowling. I got into high school. I think that was his click to try to get back into it too. Mm-hmm. We were at, I don't know if you remember Camelot Lanes, Camelot Bowl, very old alley, Mrs. Dearly. He first frame, double guttered. He struck out after the first frame. And I was in shock because I just came from a tournament that day and I was trying to work on my game. And here's my dad who hasn't touched the ball in 12 years. And he acts like it's a piece of cake. And it's insane to think once you have the talent and the ability to do something, no matter how many years you may take off, just takes small little quirk right back into it and you're right there. It's kind of how I felt.
That's what my dad did. Before he went on the 50 tour, like 2.5 years, the only thing he would bowl throughout the year was the youth adult event that Krauser ran.
Yeah.
With me.
Uh-huh.
Only thing he bowled. And he went out and won Olympia, his first PBA 50s tournament.
I did see that.
It didn't count as a title because he wasn't a member then. He just bowled it to bowl since it was at Olympia. And he won. After barely maybe bowling 8 games in 2 years.
That's amazing. And I mean, another thing I want to hit on is the connection you have with your dad. I mean, even though I know you say you got the one up on him, I mean, it's truly a blessing. If we look at this picture, 21 years apart, hugging your father, this is absolutely insane to think about. And how much did your dad really play a part in, your bowling life and probably even baseball life? Because he was there for you then too. How much was that connection to know that we did it? We did it as 3 generations. Your grandfather too is probably ecstatic. And if I saw correctly, I just saw him throw a couple balls too down the lane.
Yeah, he was up at Don Carter lanes and trying to bowl a little bit.
There we go. Maybe a couple more balls for him. We'll see another title come out, Mr. Don, maybe. 86 years young, is that what I read?
Yeah.
But yeah, how important is that for you to know your dad and your father's dad to have 3 generations of talent? And like, again, this picture right here, it shows so much meaning, at least to me. You hugged your dad at that moment 21 years later. I know you probably don't remember when he hugged you after his first or after the win he had, but what was all going through your head to know that you guys did it and you guys now hold history that may never be broken before?
It was definitely a shocking moment kind of thing. It was like, did this really just happen?
Yeah.
Type of moment. Because I mean, having your dad there, who's also won, is also a big deal. I mean, not many people can say, hey, my dad was here when I won my first title. I mean, Troop can say it. I'm sure Pete could say it.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's not often. Not often.
Name a couple others that besides those 2. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of any more, but I'm sure there's a couple more. But it's not like there's going to be this long list of former titleists that can say their dad was there.
Yeah.
Especially for something like the moment we had, which was a first in our sport.
Yeah. I mean,
Only other
groundbreaking.
3 generation like single title holders was in NASCAR. Was what Rob Stone found.
I didn't even know that.
There's only one other family that had 3 generations and it was in NASCAR. That was like individual title holder things.
And that's insane. That's insane to me. And like we mentioned before in the podcast, this is something that we probably won't see happen again. And if it does, it's very, very rare and likely to happen. And yeah, I couldn't say how much I'm proud of you, dude. I mean, ever since growing up, seeing what you've been able to do on the lanes, and now both course going our separate ways, you're still on a tear here in the tour. And like, again, very young in this tour. So what do you expect to, keep on doing for this tour? What do you look forward to? I know we talked about the PBA League, but besides the league, what do you expect most to get, out of this tour? And what's your next plans? I would say, what's next for Kevin McCune?
I mean, I'm just kind of gonna go with the flow, and I mean, hopefully having a couple more years like this year.
Yeah.
I don't want to think too far ahead of it because early success doesn't always mean good success.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I kind of just want to take it week to week and just try to win every chance I get.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully I can have an EJ year. I mean, what he did this year in our sport is unheard of. What Simo did this year in our sport is unheard of. Simo never finished below 10th.
That's insane.
In any tournament.
And we just talked about how hard it is to go through these tournaments.
Yeah.
To be top 10 finishes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's insane.
And EJ almost won everything. I mean, what he did was unreal. I mean, to be able to maybe have a year like that would be pinnacle.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to do it every year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you get the chance to, you got to take advantage of it. And that's what I did. I found something and it clicked, and I just took advantage of the opportunities that were presented to me in the games. I mean, I didn't give anything back, and I took advantage of the openings that I did get.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the goal year in and year out, is take advantages of the opportunities I get, and whatever happens, happens.
I love that mindset. Sounds like some paradise every day to me. Maybe shouting out the sponsor. Living in paradise, guys. And now this is time for the fun stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to throw Kevin through the nature's quest. Question segment, all fun questions, answer freely as much as you want, and I will grade you at the end, see how we do.
Sounds good.
So starting off with number 1, if you weren't a PBA bowler, you would be what?
Well, I want to own my own pro shop.
Okay.
So, I mean, I want to own my own pro shop, but ideally I would have been a baseball player, but I mean, the arm got torn, so, but I want to own my own pro shop one day.
And pro shop wise, is it your dad Eugene? He runs a pro shop. What bowling alley is that again?
Linwood Bowl.
Linwood, and Linwood, Illinois. Is he still partnering with Kubaki at that pro shop?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like again, pro shops are bowlers, pretty much Candyland. That's the place where we get to have all the fun. It's not the shoe shop and it's not the dress shop, and we go to the pro shop and our eyes open, jaw drops, and that's where all the fun begins for us. Number 2, favorite ball to use on the lanes. And I know you hit many different patterns and you have to transition off of that, but if you were on the lanes and you were like, damn, I really like what this ball does for me, what would that ball be?
The Black Widow 2.0, the solid one.
Okay.
I could throw that Yeah, I could throw that ball on almost anything.
There we go. Number 3, this could go either way for me. What was your favorite PBA bowler growing up? Was it in the family? Was it outside the family?
Not my dad. I can't say my dad. I'll say Schaefer. My
Okay.
dad's best friend.
All right. There we go. I saw it was kind of quite funny when you were filling out the brackets at the Players Championship, just put not Eugene. I thought that was hysterical.
I can't say my dad. I can't give him credit.
Daddy, 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 daddy. Not the mama.
All right. This should be an obvious answer for you. And if you say anything else, we might have some problems. Favorite ball company?
Hammer.
There we go. Love the sponsors. Number 5, what would people not know about Kevin McCune? Outside of bowling, outside of sports, do you have a hobby? Do you have anything you like doing? Maybe it's going out seeing new movies or playing with Lego. What's one thing that people may not know about you?
I don't really do much.
Preferably PG. Golf? Okay. That's a good answer.
I mean, if I can get lessons, I think I could potentially compete on the Corn Ferry Tour. I mean, if I actually knew how to chip and putt a little bit.
Oh, that's my biggest issue.
I mean, I can hit the ball as far as anybody.
I think that's obvious.
I hit one the other day about 340.
Oh,
340.
Jesus.
Yeah, I hit the ball a mile. It's just a matter of actually learning how to golf.
Yeah.
I can hit the ball far. I'm the guy you bring to the scramble and hoping somebody's in the fairway, and I just let it rip.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like, especially in baseball too, a lot of sports, if you're in the pro side of sports, golfing is always the secondary. I mean, shoot, that's what we do in baseball. It's always the fun secondary to do. Unless if you're like a winter sport, then you don't get to golf as much, unless if you're in the off season. But lot way better than others. Jesus, I could not do that. Like, again, I am out there just drinking, maybe smashing a few dogs and just looking at the views because my ball's either going to the right side on the highway or if it's getting lost in the trees.
Yeah, 3 years ago, I'd be shooting 100 and something. Now I'm shooting mid 80s, low 80s.
Yeah, you got a chance to do something in golf. 3 years ago, I'm shooting 100 and something. 3 years now, I'm shooting 100 and something. It doesn't get any worse than that. I think my lowest score this past year was 100, 103, 104. It was bad. It was bad.
The lowest round I've ever golfed was with my brother on a golf trip. I never hit a driver off a tee. I hit a 4-iron only off the tee. And
Scared of a driver?
And shot 76.
Bruh.
Jeez.
I hit my 4-iron 238 yards. 240 yards.
That's insane.
I should do that more often, but I like to hit it far. So that doesn't.
You got the ability to do so. So yeah, we have at the Toledo Mud Hens, we have like a little custom golf league that we do. We got a custom made belt and stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen that belt. I'm the one who actually put in the order for the belt, and right after I got it, I haven't seen it since. It's been
So what you gotta do is just order yourself one.
Right? I'll just keep it at the house and be like, championship in my mind, 24/7.
Yeah, there you go.
Definitely something I'm trying to work on. And what kind of eases into is a lot of the guys I go golfing with. Some are decent. I wouldn't say that decent like you, but some are decent enough to where they're beating me, obviously. But a lot of our guys are we're out there to have fun. Same thing you're probably doing, outside of your sport, you want to go out there, have fun, new scenery, new life. So yeah, golfing's always playing a big sport, or a big part in professional sports as almost like a side hobby almost. So let's see where we at. We just did number 5, number 6, favorite bowling alley.
Got to be Carolier. I had my first title there.
Kind of figured that was coming. It was either that or I had to think something back at home, but had to be Candelier. Let's see here. Number 7. Favorite food to eat?
Oh, definitely chicken tenders or steak.
Steak. There we go.
Chicken tenders or steak.
I'm not a big fan of chicken tenders. This is kind of weird.
I'm a fat guy. So
when I go
when I go to Cheddar's, they offer me a 3-piece chicken tender with an 8-ounce steak.
Oh, that actually does sound really good.
Yeah. It's
Cheddar's, dude. I haven't been to Cheddar's in so damn long.
Then you get a side of mac and cheese and fries, and you're just in fat guy heaven.
We have a place out here in Toledo called Paco's, Tony Paco's, and they do chili cheese hot dogs. Oh my God. They do $2 dogs on Tuesdays, and before our games on Tuesday, I go in there, grab like 4 dogs. That'll be my whole night right there. It's
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
Oh my God. Number 8. I know I have a favorite jersey for you, but what is your favorite jersey?
So my favorite jersey is the Paynes Valley one.
Okay. You probably know where I'm going with
The
my
regular one.
Yeah.
Like that's it. So they're right here. They're right here.
And what do you think? What's that over under like? Why did you choose one over the other?
Just because I like the golf course. I want to golf the golf course.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and I can make other Wrigley jerseys.
Exactly.
The Paynes Valley one's hole 19. There's only one hole 19 at Paynes Valley.
Mm-hmm. That's insane. I don't know if I've seen that jersey yet. I'll have to.
It's the one I wore on against Simo.
Oh, okay.
It's the
Throw
one I
up the
wore.
picture right now. Find the picture, throw it up. Boom. That's the jersey that we're talking about. Number 9, getting down to the nitty gritty here. What's your favorite movie or TV show? I'm not going to make you choose one or the other. So, what was your favorite out of all those?
So, TV show, either The Office or Big Bang Theory.
There we go. I'm actually watching Big Bang Theory now. Again.
That was my show on tour.
I love that show.
I watched it all during tour this year. It was Big Bang Theory. And then movie, Rookie of the Year.
Are we the same person right now? It kind of feels like we're the same person right now because my favorite movie is Rookie of the Year too, and I'm dead ass. I'm currently watching Big Bang Theory again. I've watched it maybe 3 times already, and it's even better because I don't know if you know, my dad's a Cardinals fan, so anytime I'm home, I'll throw on.
Yeah, he reminded me about it. He reminded me about it when I wore the jersey the one day.
It's okay. He can remind you all he wants because look at his team now and look at our team now. So
fair enough.
All right, number 10. Do you have a hero? Not like Superman. I'm talking about someone that's really pushed you through life and that you would call a hero and you would give all the thanks in the world to for what you've done today.
It's got to be my dad.
I wanted to get it out of you so bad. I knew it's hard for you to say, but I wanted to get it out of you.
Gotta be my dad. Because, I mean, we've done everything together.
Yeah.
I mean, he was my coach in baseball for a long time on different teams and always helped out in that. And, I mean, obviously bowling is his realm that I got brought into. I mean, he might not have won for a long time on tour, but he was always competitive on tour.
Yeah.
It took him a while to win, but his 3 titles are arguably over the 3 greatest bowlers ever. His first title was over Walter Ray. His next title was over Duke. And then his 3rd title was over Weber.
Insane.
So, I mean, it was his realm. And, I mean, I think if he did a couple things differently, his career would have been a lot different. I mean,
and that's kind of how we talked about how it's so hard to win in bowling because, you know, let one bad game get the best of you, and then all of a sudden it could turn into 6 bad games, and then
it's just if he just had a little bit different mindset, I think he would have been winning a lot more. And I mean, but you can't take away that he's one of the only people. There's only, I think, 20 people that have ever made $1 million in career earnings on tour, and he's one of them.
He's one of them.
And he holds 2 scoring records out there still. I mean, his 9-game record will never be broken. He averaged 274.4 for 9 games.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
So that'll never be broken.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that'll
ever be broken.
That's insane. That's really insane.
So and it was match play. So he actually averaged 304. Technically. But if you include the bonus pins. Because you get the bonus pins for winning in match play.
There you go. That's breaking.
So he actually averaged over 300.
That's insane. And like how we seen in the video beforehand, before you jumped on today, He's still on the tour. You're on the PBA 50 tour today, still going strong. I just saw him down here in Bowling Green. He bowled at Almar Lanes. And you can tell from, like, again, I haven't really been able to see your grandfather bowl a lot, but from your dad and you guys have the same competitiveness when it comes to bowling, the same almost mindset and eagerness to want to win, to where, you know, you throw a bad shot. Yes, it may piss you off a lot more than others because you know you're capable of doing so much more than that. And it's almost insane for me to think of how much you guys are like, and it comes together to you guys now holding history in PBA record books. And like, again, I'll say it a million times, I'll say it again, Kevin McCune, what you've done in the PBA pros and what you still have left in you to do in this tour is absolutely insane. And for people tuning in right now, I'll say it again, how important and how hard it is to succeed in this sport. Because I talked about hundreds of players being in these tournaments and these pools. I bet you over 100 of those people, you couldn't even name off the top of your head when you think of bowling. You know, a lot of these guys, they fight week in and week out, and they still haven't had their chance. So for you to do it so young in your career, I mean, I think that just opens the door for so much more successful opportunities to come.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not only people from here too. It's people from different countries.
Yeah.
You got people, the best from other countries coming here to bowl. So not only do we have to beat the best here, we have to beat the best from other countries. Yeah. And I mean, bowling is 90% mental.
Yes.
If you can't have your mental game in check, you'll never win. It's like any sport, but especially in our sport.
I would agree with that.
If you lose any type of mentality that you have and show that you're confused, or it starts to get to you. I mean, your mental game is the strongest part of your game that it has to be. You can get away physically not having the best game, but if you don't have a mental game along with it, you have no chance.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I've personally dealt with it when I was bowling. I mean, shoot, one bad shot in college ended up for one bad game, couple bad games, and then look, I'm sitting on the bench for the rest of the year. Or sitting on the bench for the rest of the tournament. It's insane to think how hard it is to just stay consistent and stay not only consistent, but have a great attitude towards your games. Because even when you're doing good, it can still beat the living hell out of you when you're trying to bowl. So to keep that mentality, truly amazing. And for my podcast today, that does wrap it up. Season 1, episode 2. Thank you guys for tuning in to Nature of the Game. Make sure to find all the podcasts on Spotify, Anchor, and YouTube. Make sure to follow me on social media at Ethan Achten, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok for all the latest information about the podcast and PA announcing, all that good stuff. Make sure to keep up to date with Kevin's journey, posting your social media accounts right there. Boom, boom. Follow him. Like, again, he's got the PBA League coming up and just a lot of cool things to look out for. I mean, like, again, raw talent and absolutely dominated in the PBA Players Championship. So you can only imagine what the future holds for this man. So definitely go follow him, see what he's all about. And thank you to our great sponsor at Paradise Every Day. Kevin, you will be hooked up with a care package with some cool merchandise. And remember, you can get your Paradise Everyday gear, and all proceeds go to charity to help fight mental health awareness. Go to Paradise Everyday 365 on Instagram to buy all the merch, decals, all that cool stuff. Remember, all of it goes to a good cause, guys. And they do have a website, like I mentioned before, they do have a website coming up soon. So once I find out the URL for that website, I'll get that to you guys. And just a reminder, if you're fighting behind closed doors, just know that you are not alone. And on the other side, there is paradise awaiting. And with episode 2 finally in the books, Kevin McCune, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I mean, what an amazing adventure this has been for you, adventure this has been for me. And until next time, guys, we will see you on the next adventure towards nature of the